Welcome to Leadership with Purpose.
Glad to be here.
Today we're doing a deep dive into leading with integrity and purpose, and we're going to be drawing insights from Lead Like You Mean It, Lessons on Integrity and Purpose from the C-Suite by Laysha Ward.
Excellent book. I think our listeners will get a lot out of this one.
Now, Laysha Ward spent over 30 years at Target Corporation, working her way up from the sales floor to an executive role as Executive Vice President and Chief External Engagement Officer.
Yeah, that's pretty critical. That's the kind of experience that gives you a real understanding of leadership from the ground up.
Absolutely. And what we're going to do today is distill some of the key wisdom from her book.
That's right. We're going to give our listeners the core insights without having to read through the whole thing.
Sort of like a cheat sheet to Laysha Ward's approach.
Exactly. We want to help people connect the dots between their personal values and their professional goals.
And hopefully by the end of this, our listeners will have a better sense of how to make their careers more meaningful and impactful.
Yeah.
So one of the big ideas in Ward's book is this concept of leading with meaning.
Right.
She talks a lot about seeing your life and your career as interconnected, not as two separate things.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point because a lot of people kind of feel like they have to put on a different hat when they go to work.
Right.
But Ward's saying you bring your whole self to work, and that's actually how you create more meaning.
So how does that actually play out, in real life?
Well, think about it this way. When your personal values and your professional actions are aligned, it just creates a deeper sense of purpose in what you do.
It's like everything's flowing in the same direction.
Exactly. And when that happens, you're more likely to make choices that feel authentic to you, both inside and outside of work.
So it's about intentionality, right?
Yeah, making intentional choices that resonate with what really matters to you.
So I'm curious, for our listeners out there, how aligned do you feel like your own life and career are right now?
That's a good question for everyone to consider.
Maybe just take a moment to think about that.
Yeah. And if you feel like there's some disconnect, what's one small step you could take to move towards greater integration?
Great point. Okay, so building on that idea of bringing your whole self to work, Ward talks about the importance of authenticity in leadership.
Right.
Why is that so important?
Well, when leaders are genuine, it builds trust with their teams. People can sense when someone is being real, and that creates a more open and collaborative environment.
So it's not just about being nice or likable, it's about being true to yourself.
Exactly. And when leaders are authentic, their decisions are more likely to be rooted in their values, which leads to more ethical leadership.
And that ultimately makes them more effective.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. If one of your core values is fairness, and you bring that value to work with you, it's going to influence how you treat your team. It's going to influence how you make decisions.
It's going to permeate everything you do. It might be helpful for our listeners to take some time to reflect on their own core values and how those values show up or don't show up in their work lives.
Yeah, that's a great exercise.
Okay, so another cornerstone of leading with meaning, according to Ward, is acting from purpose. Why is it so important for leaders to have a clearly defined sense of purpose?
Well, it comes down to motivation. When you know your purpose, it acts as kind of an internal compass.
Yeah.
It guides your decisions and helps you navigate challenges.
So it's like you always have a North Star to follow.
Yeah. And when you're operating from a place of purpose, it's easier to stay focused on what's truly important.
And you're less likely to get bogged down by the little things.
Right. And it's not just about you. When a leader has a strong sense of purpose, it can inspire their team.
Because everyone understands why they're doing the work.
Exactly. And that shared sense of purpose can be really powerful.
Absolutely. So for our listeners, I think it would be worthwhile to take some time to reflect on your own motivations and your overarching mission.
Yeah. What gets you up in the morning? What are you working towards?
And even if you don't have all the answers right now, just starting to ask those questions can be really valuable.
Yeah, it can help you start to shape your leadership approach.
Okay, so Ward also talks a lot about intentional decision-making.
Right.
And she stresses the importance of making choices that align with your values and your purpose.
Yeah. It's not just about making decisions. It's about making decisions that are in line with who you are and what you believe in.
So how does that create a more fulfilling career path?
Well, every decision you make, big or small, is like laying another brick in the path you're building.
I like that analogy.
So instead of just reacting to opportunities as they come up, you're actively choosing the direction you want to go in.
You're the architect of your own career.
Exactly. So let's say, for example, one of your values is continuous learning.
Okay.
If you're making decisions intentionally, you might seek out projects that challenge you and help you grow, even if they're a little scary.
Because you know that in the long run, those experiences are going to benefit you.
Exactly. And over time, all those intentional decisions add up, and you end up with a career trajectory that feels much more aligned with your values and your purpose.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it's easy to get caught up in just taking whatever opportunities come your way, but when you're intentional about your choices, you have more control over where you end up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so another big theme in Lead Like You Mean It is the importance of relationships.
Right.
And Ward emphasizes building genuine connections, even with people who have different perspectives than you.
Yes. It's about getting out of your echo chamber and embracing diversity of thought.
So what's the value in that?
Well, when you connect with people who have different backgrounds and different viewpoints, you're exposed to new ideas. You start to see things from different angles.
And that can be really valuable in terms of problem solving and innovation.
Absolutely. I mean, think about a team where everyone has the same background and the same perspective. They're probably going to come up with very similar solutions to problems.
Right. You need that diversity of thought to really spark creativity.
Exactly. And it's not just about work. Building relationships with people who are different from you can help you grow as a person.
It broadens your horizons.
Exactly.
So I think it's a good challenge for our listeners to think about the diversity of their own networks.
Yeah.
Are you surrounding yourself with people who challenge your assumptions and make you think differently?
And if not, how can you actively seek out those connections?
That's a great point. Okay, so finally, Ward talks about the importance of championing both yourself and others.
Hmm.
And this includes prioritizing self-care as well as supporting the growth and development of your team.
Right.
Why are these two things so important for effective leadership?
Well, you can't effectively lead and support others if you're running on empty.
Right.
So self-care is not selfish. It's essential.
It's like putting on your own oxygen mask first before helping others.
Exactly. And when you prioritize your own well-being, you have more energy, more clarity, and more resilience to bring to your leadership role.
And that allows you to be more present and more supportive of your team.
Absolutely. And when you champion others, when you invest in their growth and development, it creates a more engaged and empowered workforce.
So it's a win-win.
Yeah. Taking care of yourself enables you to better care for others, and their growth contributes to the overall success of the team.
And it creates a culture of mutual support.
Exactly.
And I think it's important to emphasize that Ward's book isn't just theory. She provides a lot of practical advice on how to actually implement these ideas.
Absolutely.
She talks about everything from how to incorporate self-care into your routine to how to navigate difficult conversations.
Yeah, and how to build a legacy you can be proud of.
And the book has received a lot of praise for its practicality and its relevance.
Yeah, it's not just a feel-good book. It's a book that can actually help people become better leaders.
Right. And we've seen endorsements from some pretty impressive people.
Yeah, like Sean Achor, the happiness researcher.
He praised the book for its insightful and practical approach to the modern workplace.
And Arthur C. Brooks, he talked about how the book can help people find deeper meaning in their lives and their leadership.
And Brian Cornell, the CEO of Target, he called it an insightful guide on how to lead with integrity, humanity, and purpose.
And coming from the CEO of Target, that's a pretty strong endorsement.
Yeah. It shows that these ideas really resonate with leaders at all levels.
Absolutely.
So to sum it all up, Lead Like You Mean It is a really valuable resource for anyone who wants to lead with more authenticity and purpose.
It provides a roadmap for aligning your personal values with your professional aspirations.
And it shows you that those two things don't have to be in conflict. They can actually reinforce each other.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up here, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder. What's one small, concrete action you can take today to better integrate your personal values into your professional life?
Yeah. Think about something specific you can do.
And how might that one small step begin to shift your sense of purpose and impact?
It's amazing how small changes can sometimes lead to big results.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into purposeful leadership.
We hope you found it insightful.
And if you enjoyed this conversation, please take a moment to like this deep dive and subscribe to our channel.
Your support really helps us keep creating these in-depth explorations of leadership concepts.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.